Very true. Okay, so what are the documents that we need to get ready? So here's what you need to have ready. So you have to have appraisals, and this usually is for people in the jewelry or anything that has a value, they have their appraisals. But you have to have repair estimates. What would it cost? Now, I'll give you a rule of thumb. It is about $150 per square feet to build a home in a modest, not the fancy schmancies, not the extra custom made, but $150 per square feet. So if you are renting a space as 1,000, right? Multiply by 150, that gives you an idea of what the cost would be to repair your location. If you have custom made anything, you have to bring it up to $220 per square feet. Okay? Inventories. How many of you know what you have? Very good. At the time of chaos, you're gonna go blank. So I tell people, take pictures and videos of your stuff. Because I'm telling you, it is very traumatic. I had one fire on a investment property that I had. And when I got there, I was just so sick to my stomach to see how it was happening and the people running. It was so like, it was, I've never, ever, I'm not that emotional, by the way, but I was like a mess. I was like, oh my God, these people have lost everything, everything. And when you ask them, okay, is there anything of importance? I don't know. They just couldn't. It was too much. So have inventories. And the best way is to either, those receipts are where? Are they home? What if the fire is at home? You need a safe somewhere away from your home, okay? Business income. Well, how do I calculate business income? Give you an idea. Know your gross sales and what your profit margin is. Do you have an income that you take every week, or do you wait for the profit? Whatever formula you're using, kind of have an idea. So if somebody asks me, well, what's your gross sales per month? I know it. What's my overhead? I know it. What's the percentage of my payroll? I know that too. And I know what my profit's going to be, and I know when I'm not going to make a profit too. So I look at my sales. So so cost of relocation. We talked about that. Very important. I'm going to emphasize over and over, because we never think about this at the time of a loss. Where am I going to go? Are the clients going to be willing to travel to where I'm going to go? So now you have an office, and you said Morris Plains, right? Are they willing to go down to Morristown if that's the only location you can find? Or are you going to lose clients? You're going to lose clients. That's just the name of the game. We're hopefully not, but but clients sometimes, they're kind of weird that way. You know, like, she's going to make me drive. Oh my God. You know, who cares? She had a fire. You know, they're not that sensitive. So that's part of it. And then the number one documents that you should have is data. Now, for those that have staff, right, you might have something you're working on, and I'm working on the same file on my computer. So I have another piece over here, and somebody else is working on the same file, and they have another piece. Well, how are you going to know? You're never going to remember. Okay, I was working on this. Who else was working on that? Oh, I was working on that file. Maybe, I'm not sure. Did I finish? Did I email it? Did I save it? Did I back it up? What did I do? Is it in the cloud? We don't know. So what's your backup plan? Do you have a disk? Does it stay in the office? Okay, not good. Maybe going to the cloud might be a consideration. There's this box that people are talking about now that it has like, it backs it up into there, but then it has like a backup that you can pull it from another computer. It's Dropbox? I don't know if it's Dropbox. It's some kind of box you put next to the server. So the point is, data is very important. Your clients, well, she should know, right? Oh, BDR, there you go. So, and she's all quiet there with all her secrets. Yes, say it.
It stands for Big Damn Recorder.
That's what it is.
Disaster recovery.
Yeah. So I went to a seminar, and there was a guy talking about that, and I don't remember the cost, but do you know the cost?
It varies a lot because it's based on the amount of space that you use.
Right. So, okay, so you might want to talk to her and find out about that. Because if you're not going to go to the cloud, some people feel, oh, it's not safe enough, or I don't have the little disk. I kind of leave it right there in the office in my shelf, you know. That's not real protection.
What if you're Carnival Cruise and you off a ship that doesn't have a backup system and there's a fire? Do people have claims against them? I mean, just, free cruise and having been tortured at sea for 3 days?
Torture.
Oh, yeah, I want to do that again.
I want to be tortured.
My voucher.
Do you have, I mean, they clearly had no redundant systems to support life on board when there was a backup. Do you have claims against them?
Against the ship?
Yeah, the passengers.
The passengers
Because
make.
it sounds like all of that insurance they should have had.
What they should have, yeah.
The
They
point that
sh-
was made on the news this morning, though, was it was a fire at sea.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
things do happen.
Happened.
I'm sure
And there
the
was no
fine
loss of
print.
life. It was not a major tragedy. Took people a couple more days to get home, and they were inconvenienced by the smell of rotting garbage, but
Actually, I heard a conflicting report last night, but they can sue.
well,
They will sue.
They will
Anybody
sue.
can
That's
sue.
right.
Yeah,
You
they will.
want to take the case? You got 4,000
Small
people.
home-based business is
That's
supposed to
what
have
they're
this kind of
gonna try, yeah.
redundancy and setup and protection. Then if you're taking people out to sea, you should have enough systems in place and redundancy.
I'm sure that companies like that large have plenty of insurance. I mean, hopefully,
And plenty of lawyers.
and plenty of lawyers to not pay, right?
They have the fine print on it.
I always say, do not get hit by the government because they're not going to pay. They're self-insured. If a police officer hits you, that's it. You're not going to get paid.
Yeah.
You have to go
Or a
against your
mail
own
truck.
policy.
Never have an accident with a mail truck.
Oh, with the mail truck?
That's a federal offense.
Yeah, you see? So what are the documents that you should start gathering, that you should have? And so here's an easy way. I scan everything, and if you have Google, you can scan it and put it into a Drive file and label it. Or if you have the iPads, now they have this note shelf that you can put there and secure. Things that can be pulled through the internet somewhere else. Try to have, if you don't have if you can't afford the box and you don't want to go to the cloud and the CDs are not that great, backing it up or scanning it and making it in a file and then emailing it, that will give you access somewhere else. So think of that. Monthly sales tax returns for those that charge. I don't think any of us charge. Maybe you do. You? Yeah, you do, right? She does. IT does. But for the rest of us, we don't really charge sales tax. But have that in your record. Business contracts. So when I read this, I said, oh my God, I haven't scanned any of my contracts in I don't know how long. So I told my assistant, scan all the contracts. So I never thought of it because you think that, I'm okay. I'm the insurance agent. What's going to happen to me, right? Nothing. Yeah, everything. So business contracts, you should have it again, scan it, email it, or make a little file in your email, and you can have that as a backup, and that would be an inexpensive way of doing it. Budgets. How many of you work on budgets on your business, right? You have to know what your budgets are. Financial statements. Other documents like pertinent calculating projects or projected incomes for your business. Work with your insurer. Now, you have to be on top of your adjuster or your agent. If you have a really good agent, that person will guide you through the claim step by step. So the customer database is the least tracked. Most of us, how many of you know how many customers you have? Exactly to the, yeah? Good. Names, address? No, right? You have to have it backed up, right? Somewhere. Critical data. So we talked about data being lost, and here's how it gets lost. Here's how it's spread out through the file. It's email messages corresponding to records, faxes, password lists. This is the list that you should have for your data for your office. So you should have all the emails. If it's secured, if you have used passwords, then you should have a list of your passwords. Because at the moment that you have to relocate, you're going to have your staff or yourself, okay, well, what was that password? What was that password? You just went through trauma. You're not going to remember everything. But if you have a nice list of everything that you need and all the emails and all the contacts, and client proposals, your website content, everything that you need so that when you relocate, you can start up right away. That is very important. The longer you take, the more clients you will lose. Customers will leave somewhere else. And God forbid they get better treatment somewhere else. Because once they experience better, they're not coming back. So, okay. Adjusters come between 1 to 2 days. And their main purpose is not really to do the estimate. They're going to do that, but their main purpose is to find out what caused the loss. And are you covered? So the reason many people didn't get covered was because it was utility. So they said, oh, sorry, it's outside, it's not inside, you're not covered. Oh, it's flood, like Katrina, right? The biggest problem with Katrina was not because the winds, it was because it was flood, and most people didn't have flood insurance, so their homes couldn't be rebuilt. And that was a big controversy with all the insurance companies. And also said, but they didn't buy flood. If Chris Christie would have not changed it from a hurricane to a storm, do you have any idea what people would have been complaining about? Insurance companies would have not been able to, they would not be giving that many checks out. And the amount of checks would have been much, much, much less because the average family would have had a $25,000 deductible. Now, does the homeowner know that they have a $25,000 deductible? Probably not. They just read 3%, but they didn't know that it was 3% of the value of the home. So you insured your home for $500,000 or $600,000 or $1 million, and you just chose 3%. That's the 3% out of that amount. So do you have that? But we didn't think about that, right? We just saw 3%. Oh, no big deal. It should be okay. It's not okay. Not okay. All right. So you must work diligently with your adjuster. Now, what about public adjusters? Many of those, right? They're like, they come like really fast. And they're there to help you. I'm here to help you. Okay, let me explain something about public adjusters. They are not going to get any extra money than what you're going to get. Your adjuster and your agent, if you work and you have all your documents in place, you're going to get the max amount no matter what. No adjuster can get any more than that. If you put $1,000 in my pocket, you might get $900 back or maybe less. But you're going to get exactly what you put in. So that's an insurance policy. Whatever you chose is what you're going to get. No public adjuster can get you any more than that. And on top of that, they charge you 10 to 15%. They charge you 10 to 15% to convince you that they're going to give you more money. And all they're doing is putting all those documents together. The very documents that we're sharing today that you should have together. If you have that in order and you get your estimates and you make sure that you work with a good construction person that can tell you exactly what you need, that is not only the wall, but maybe it's not only the sheetrock, it's the insulation and it's the beam and it's the electrical wiring, that they make sure that they're making a complete claim. But the public adjuster is doing that as well. But you can do that on your own and save yourself the 10 to 15%. Okay. What are the common mistakes? Why people don't get covered? All right. To have business income, you must know you cannot lowball your gross sales. So not that this doesn't happen here, that happens in the other world. Some of my customers, I'm going to use a specific industry, in construction, always say, right? They always lie about their gross sales. It's $25,000 and I work by myself. And what kind of work do you do? Interior only. Really? Okay. You go to their website, there's roof, there's all kinds of other services that they didn't tell you about. Of course, the insurance company is going to check and they're going to deny deny the policy. But in the meantime, they waste your time. But here's the problem. Let's just say it goes through and you say that your gross sales were $25,000 a year when you're clearly making $100,000. Now you have a loss and you have business income. You paid attention to me and you went back and changed it to a 1 year. Well, they're going to give you $25,000 in 1 year. Voila! But you live on $100,000. So you're not going to get the $100,000 because you never disclosed it. So you have to make sure that what you're selling, what you're saying is what you're selling, and what you're selling is what you're saying. It must match. And so that's how people don't get the coverages. That's how people say, I bought this insurance policy, this agent was awful to me, that carrier is awful, they didn't pay me. And nobody asked them, what did you say about your gross sales? Did you say your gross sales? The second industry that's very good at not saying, yeah, anybody in construction, the trades are very good at that. But the grocery stores, I mean, you guys don't have that many grocery stores, but where I am, there's a lot of grocery stores. They all say 100,000, and we know it's $500,000. They all make about $500,000 in gross sales. Why? Because their receipts, it's more than that. But they're so smart, right? Oh, I only do 100,000, and their income taxes, they do it the same 100,000, but then their receipts and all their stuff that they're reporting to the insurance company when there's a claim, they're like, what's this? What's that? Yeah, I order this. I go to this every month. And they're like, really? Well, your insurance policy only has this much. How did that happen? What, did you have a boom? Oh, yeah, we had a boom. Non-disclosure of other services. So the landscaper, right, he says he only trims, he only cuts grass, but in the meantime, he's 7 feet high cutting down trees, and it's not covered.